Hi and welcome to my channel. My name is Magnus, and today we're going to talk about the different management tools that is available for your Checkpoint environment. So first of all, we have the Smart Console, and this was introduced in R80, so this is quite a long time already. But before this, there was something called the Smart Dashboard, and the issue with the Smart Dashboard, it was multiple application for multiple purposes. And now more or less all of this has been combined into the Smart Console, so it makes it a lot easier. So let's log into the Smart Console and we can see what we can do in this tool. So the first time you open up the Smart Console, you will see this, what is new within the Smart Console, and it explains what has come in the recent versions. And we are running the version R81.X, so this is the latest and greatest as of May 2022. The Smart Console is your day-to-day admin tool to monitor and actually manage your Checkpoint products. So here is the gateways and services. So when we have logged into the management station, we're able to see like what devices are actually controlled by this management station. And in this case, it's one log server. Here we have the management station. We have the firewall cluster, and this is 2 gateways within this firewall cluster. And we're able to see a few things already here. So first of all, we have the status, and everything is okay now. And if there is any issues like with licenses or performance or hardware or so on, this will be listed here. So like if you have a license that is about to expire, this will turn yellow, and then you will see like, yeah, one issue, license going to expire in 30 days. You can see the IP address of the device, you can see what version it's running, you can see what blades are active on this device. You can see what type of hardware family this is. If it's an open server, if it's an appliance, what sort of family of appliance is this running. And you can see some basic health check, meaning here it will list the CPU usage. Checkpoint also added a recommended upgrade within, I think it's R81. So the reason why I think it's added within R81 is because within R81, Checkpoint added one of the most awesome features that has been added for years. And this is the possibility to actually upgrade your firewall clusters from the Smart Console. This is not something that we will cover within the series. I mean, this is more of a CCSE, but it's getting easier and easier to actually upgrade and working with this product in a more advanced way. So more or less, it's running scripts. So more or less, it's a full automated upgrade with verification scripts and everything. It's pretty awesome. But I wanted to show you some other things that you can actually see here as well. So if we mark this firewall cluster here, and we check down here, devices and license information. First off here, we can see some basic information. But you can change here to license status. We can see all the different blades that are available for us to use. And you see here available, and also what expiration date it has. When it comes to this specific one, I'm running a demo license, meaning I have more or less all the features, or I can use all the features that I want. And this is something that you can do as well. You're able to create an eval license. So you can test out all these features within your environment. You can actually build this lab yourself within your own environment using eval licenses. You actually even get like when you install a Checkpoint product, you will get, I think it's 15 or 30 days right away when you install it. We can also go back here to the device status. So if we click here on system information, we're actually able to see the CPU utilization. We can see the disk space available. We can see some memory. We can see hardware sensors if you have an appliance box. So you can see like how the PSU is working and if it's up to par. And I wasn't aware of this before. This is something I haven't noticed before. But if we go back to device status, we can see network activity. So here you have all the traffic counters and so on. This I was aware of. But if you scroll down here, you can actually see the routing table. I wasn't aware that this was present within this this tool here. But if you press here, you can see the routing table. And yeah, So Checkpoint has added more and more. I don't know when this was added. Maybe it has been for 10 years. No idea. But it's quite nice to be able to actually see the routing table within the GUI. Because if you have normal firewall clusters like this and you don't use VSX, you need to change your routing table within a different GUI. And this is why we have this video, so we can see what sort of things can you view in the different GUIs available for you. So if you go to the next part, that would be the security policy. This is more or less where you will live. I mean, this one and in the logs, but security policies you will see a lot. And by default, I think that you should enable two things more or less right away. So if you mark this one, right click and then press hit. So hit counts, it was added after quite a lot of years actually been requested, but it has been present for the last releases, and this is one of the it's one of the best features, and it's really underrated. Because I will let you into a little bit secret. Everyone wants to create rules. Everyone is like pushing really hard to get rules in place. But there is very few people that ask for like, could you please remove this rule? Could you please decommission this? Because we're not using it anymore. That nearly never happens. So hit counts can be used for like tracking if the rule has been used for the last 30 days, for the last 3 months, for the last year. And if you see here like, yeah, this one has 0 hit counts. Is this rule really needed? So this is something that can be used to clean up the rule base. And this is something that you should do from time to time. I say should because it's really hard to actually get the time for it, but it's important. So you should clean your rule base from time to time, so it's up to par, so you know what it's doing, so it doesn't grow like crazy. I mean, in this lab, we only have 11 rules, but in real production, this can be 200, 300, 5,000. There can be a lot of rules. By the way, if you have 5,000 rules, you should consider a different design when it comes to your rule building. There is a lot of trick that you can do to limit the amount of rules within one policy. And the second part that you should activate more or less right away is right click again and select comments. So comments allows you to put in more text than only the name. And I think that when you're creating a rule, you should always have a name for it. And you should always put some sort of comment. The comment can include like ticket ID and when you created the rule. A lot of this information will be present in different places as well. So you're able to, like see here, summary, you're able to put in a ticket number here as well. But most organizations, they put in like the ticket number and who actually performed the thing within the comments. So there are more things that you can do. You can do like a session and then you can publish it with a specific ticket number and so on. But within this, within this video, we will not go through how to create the rules. That will be in the next video. But I just wanted to make sure that you understand that you need to have the hit counts and you need to have the comments. And when it comes to Checkpoint, one of the most important thing, how it processes the rule base. So it processes it from top to bottom. So the placement of rules are really important. So from the top, first hit, it will count. So I don't want to show you nothing when it comes to the policy itself. But one thing that you should use, and I use quite a lot, if you mark one of these lines, you see that it turns blue. If you select logs here, you're able to see all the logs that is for this specific rule. So it has already filtered on the current rule. This is not the only place where you can see logs, but it's really handy to just be able to mark one of these rules and see what sort of traffic is going right here. And you're able to have it like, yeah, keep on adding logs, or you can do your filters, or you can, searching logs and then how to use the logs. It will also be in a different video. This video is only regarding the different GUIs to give you a bit of a crash course when it comes to like what GUI is for what. What many new admins tend to forget is that you also have a NAT policy. So netting is when you do a network address translation. So for example, if you're going from your internal network out to your public network or the internet, normally have some RFC 1918 address on your machine, meaning like 10.x.x.x. And when you surf on internet, you need to use a public IP address, and then you can use like hide net, meaning you hide your IP address behind the gateways, the firewall's external IP address, and you use this one to surf. And the firewall itself, it keeps track of all the sessions, etc., etc. But what I want to mention with this one, you need to consider the NAT rule base as well. But more or less, the NAT rules are processed the same way from top to bottom. So it's really common to add some sort of rule here that says internal network to internal network, do not touch, do not do anything. Or like RFC 1918 to RFC 1918, do not touch, do not do anything. But you see, for example, here, internal network to Office 365, hide NAT behind this IP address. I'm fully aware that this is not a public IP address, but this is what I use in my lab. So excuse me for that one, but I just wanted to demonstrate to you how this is working. So the third part of this is the logs and monitor. So the logs and monitors, it allows you to view all the logs from all the firewalls, from all the routes. So this is all the logs within this management station. And if you want to make sure that you have all the logs, you need to go to the log server here and select all of them. If one of them are not selected, you will not get all the logs. So make sure to have all of them selected where you're sending your logs to. And here you're able to search for logs, and we will go through how to actually search for logs in a different video as well. This is just to describe what you use the GUIs for. Within this logs and monitors, you're also able to see like reports if you have smart event activated. You're able to see the audit log. So the audit log is describing any changes that has been happening. I haven't done any changes here, but they will be presented here within the audit log. And the fourth and last thing that we will look on right now is the manage and settings. And here is where you can add different users and permission profiles on who is allowed to use the APIs and who is allowed to use the Smart Console. You can also see like sessions, meaning you can compare different sessions and revision to each other. We will look into that more on later on as well. And you can also upload packet repository for your upgrades and so on. This is not part of this course. This you need to go the CCSA or CCSE. So that's it for the Smart Console. Let's jump into the next one. I almost forgot, but Smart Console can look a bit different. This is not R81, but it's R8030. So it looks very similar, but the main difference here is that it's an MDS. An MDS is something that I was introduced to quite late. I already had taken my CCSA, my CCSE, and then I found out there is something called an MDS. Like, okay, what is that? Well, an MDS is when you can have multiple management stations within one management server. So if you work for an MSP or a really large organization, it's likely that you have an MDS. So let's log into this one. It looks very similar, but there is like a main GUI. So as soon as this has launched, we can see, first of all, I haven't started everything. I haven't added all the licenses and so on. Yeah, we get to that one. But you see here, you have something called multi-domain. You have gateways and servers and logs and monitor. So it doesn't look the same. But within this multi-domain, if you want to log into like a customer SMS or like a customer's management station, within MDS, it's called, I think the new name is DMN domain. but more or less everyone call it CMA. Yeah, you can call it what you want. But here, if you see here, you have 5 different domains. So this is 5 different virtual management stations. Quite nice. The global domain is counted as the 5th. So actually it's only 3 different customer domains, because the main, it's include all the gateways, like when you're running VSX. So this is a fairly more advanced lab, but I still wanted to show you, because if you work for an ISP or an MSP or a large organization, more or less this is what you will face. So then you're able to connect to the specific domain. So it will open one more smart console, and it will look exactly the same as it did in the previous one. So here you just have 4 or 5 different ones that can have different rule bases, that you can have different administrators, that you can have different gateways or firewalls. So this is the scale I'll talk about in the last video. But you see here, this is still Smart Console. So the difference is that this window below here, this is an MDS. So then you need to go into multi-domain, domains, then you need to right click and select connect to domain. Then you get up a new window. So you're able to log in and see the rule base. And it has the same. So it has the gateways and servers, it has the management settings. All of that is very similar. You can even, like if we do like this, let me just move my windows away. So we have the Smart Console. So instead of connecting to 1110 or to 110, that is the MDS, we can connect directly to this 112. So it's not sure that you will see that you actually on an MDS. There are some signs that you can see, but you can log in directly to this one. And it will say like, yeah, it's a domain management station. This is a comment I have filled in myself. I just wanted to show you that there are possibilities to scale this environment really nice. And I wanted to show you, depending on what sort of management station, the Smart Console will look different. And this is not covered within the CCSA, this is not covered within the CCSE, it comes later. And that's why I wanted to include this in the crash course. But I also see like, yeah, this video is getting quite long, and I was planning to show like the Gaia portal, the CLI, the Web Smart Console. So I will make this into 2 parts. So this will be part 1, and in the part 2, we will check the other admin tools. So I hope to see you in the next one. Take care.